What's up, everybody? You're watching another episode of the Iron Obsession podcast. Before today's video gets started, I'd like to ask you all to please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell to get notifications on this channel. Please support the show by using code Anson10 at either Iron Rubber Power Gear or Granite Nutrition. Thank you.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the vlog series. It is Thursday, November 13th, and I'm looking to do a full day of eating today. And also, since it's Thursday, that is one of my meal prep days for the week. So I'm going to show you guys how I meal prep all of my food. And since it is a meal prep day, I'm off work. I'm going to go to the gym, and you guys will see that. But I'm going to be here all day for the most part. So I'm going to be able to eat and cook all of my meals fresh. So you guys will see what that looks like. But yeah, it is Thursday, so it's an arm day as well, arm and shoulders. We'll be recording that for you guys. It's not going to be quite as intense per se as the leg day that you saw in the last vlog, but I really do enjoy this workout, and the pump is stupid. So you'll be able to see that. That'll be fun. But yes, I just got done with, basically, I'll kind of just run down how my whole day has been up until this point. It is 9:30 right now. I woke up around 8:30 or so. I tend to let myself sleep in a bit later on the days where I don't have to be at the gym on a certain time. I think I got like 8 hours of sleep on the dot for the most part. Probably went to bed around little after midnight, right at midnight, I'd say. But yeah, got a good night of sleep. I think I maybe only woke up once or twice. Overall, that's pretty good for me. I'm someone who typically wakes up a lot at night. But yeah, woke up, did my fasted cardio, took my fasted supplements, did all that, and here we are. It's time to eat meal one, which is also my pre-workout meal. This meal, I did all the math for the macros and the calories today because I don't typically track that. I just followed the meal plan. But I'm sure you guys want to know, like, what's the macros of this meal? What's the macros of that meal? So I went ahead and did all that for you. This meal right here is about 1,000 calories, about 75 grams of protein. I think, like, let's see, I got it written down over here, about 140 grams of carbs or so, and then like maybe 5 fats just from trace. Yeah, it's a pretty big meal. I think it's my second biggest meal of the day. My biggest meal today is my post-workout meal, and that's just like slightly bigger. But it's a very similar meal to this as well. So that's the macros for the meal. What does the meal actually consist of? I'm going to weigh it all out and show it to you live, Bill O'Reilly style. So I'm going to turn on our scale. All right. So I like to go about my cream of rice in kind of a convoluted way. And that's what this meal is. We're looking at whey protein, cream of rice, strawberries, blueberries, and salt, of course. So like I was saying, I like to do my cream of rice in a bit of a convoluted way because I just can't get behind spending all this money on these flavored cream of rices, especially in my situation where you're going to see me eat 140 grams of dry cream of rice twice a day. I can't do that in Flavor Gang. I can't do that in Elevate, you know. So I've found a way to make plain Jane cream of rice that is cheap, also tastes pretty good. And I'm going to show you guys how I do that. So first and foremost, we got to start with our cream of rice. We're going to weigh out 140 grams. Let's see, that's 80. That's 126. $140 on the dot. All right. So our cream of rice, we won't be needing that anymore. Then we're going to tear that out. We're going to do 1 tablespoon of baking powder, not baking soda. Big difference. I've made that mistake before. Not a fun time for your blood pressure, that's for sure. Yeah, just going to do 1 tablespoon of that. Sometimes I'll do more, sometimes I'll do less. As of the past couple days, I've just been doing 1 tablespoon. That seems to be more than enough, honestly. And then this is an optional thing right here. This is going to be really weird. But, so this is psyllium husk powder. Now, I used to do this with Metamucil, which was orange flavored, and I'd have to kind of mask the taste of that orange flavoring with a bunch of cinnamon, stevia, and all that. So instead, what I've done lately for maybe like a month or two, I bought this psyllium husk powder. I think it's only one ingredient. Yeah, other than the sweeteners, it's just psyllium husk. Per 16 grams, it's 4 grams of carbs. So, and it's got some sugar alcohols in it, but so far it's good on my stomach. If this ever becomes a problem with my stomach, though, it'll be the first thing to go. So, about 5 grams or 1 tablespoon of baking powder. Now we got the Metamucil powder here, which is vanilla flavored, by the way. I'm going to do 10 grams on, for example, on a rest day where my food is a bit lower. I will do at least 10, usually not much more, maybe like 12. But if there's a day where I feel like I'm waking up a bit fuller, not quite as hungry, I won't do 10, I'll do 5. There we go. There we go. So that's 10 on the dot. Yep. Oop, 10.1, 10.0. Okay. All right. So now that we've got all of our dry ingredients in the cooking bowl, wok, whatever you want to call it, water. So people have different ideas, different ratios, and things like that for cream of rice. I've found with this particular concoction of baking powder, the cream of rice, and then the psyllium husk, you can do pretty much as much water as you want, and it's still going to have a pretty decent consistency. Um, I'm probably going to do. We'll do 800 grams of liquid today. I typically do somewhere between six to 1,000 grams of liquid. We'll do 800 today, kind of be right in the middle. $8.50. That'll work. All right. So now we want to very quickly whisk this. You can turn off the scale because you're done with that for now. We'll try not to shake the microphone too much for you guys. I know some people will go absolutely nuts over that. But yeah, you just want to whisk it until all of the ingredients are blended together and it just looks like this cloudy water for the most part. And you're done with the first step. So that is step one. Step two is going to be making our whey drip. I'm going to put this on the stove real quick, put it on low. I wish I had one of those cameras that has the AI tracking that follows me around, but we're not that high tech here yet. Maybe in the future. But all right, now I'm going to show you how to make the whey drip. Now, others call it whey drip. I call it whey paste because I want like a thick icing basically for this. So on my diet plan, I'm allowed 70 grams of protein from whey, which for this particular whey right here ends up being 98 grams dry. So we get a good amount of actual material to work with here. All right, 98 exactly. All right. This is the whey protein that I'm using right here. The Meadows Whey, Cinnamon Toast Crunch flavor. It goes crazy. Absolutely love this. Like, I tried to switch to the vanilla for a while just because I felt like I was, I don't know, I was getting kind of used to the cinnamon toast crunch flavor, if that makes sense. But I bought a couple bags of vanilla, and the vanilla was really good. But I kind of just on a spur was like, you know what? Let's go back to the cinnamon toast crunch and see if I like it better, and I do. But I still need to try the chocolate and the strawberry flavors. So far, the only flavors of the Meadows Whey that we carry. Code Anson 10, by the way. So far, I've only tried the cinnamon toast crunch and the vanilla because I'm a creature of habit. If I like something, I'm just going to stick to it. I left that stove on high. Don't do that. So stove's on low. All right, so we got 98 grams of dry whey right here. I find for the consistency that I want, 98 grams, 60, 58, 60 grams is most likely going to make a pretty good outcome. There we go. I accidentally put a little bit too much. That is 70 grams of liquid. We can tear that. I'm just going to mix this together. And that's it. I will jump cut to the finished product for you guys to see. All right, cream of rice is done. Great consistency and texture there. So the reasoning behind the baking powder and the psyllium husk is it basically gets it that same fluffy texture that you'll see in those brands like Flavor Gang. I'll zoom in after we actually do this part. But so this is the whey paste. Look at that. Isn't that great? This is actually a bit more of a drip than a paste. It's kind of like a half and half, actually. I put a little bit too much water in it, but it still turned out great. So now we are just going to let that all get up there. Yeah, may edit this part down, may not. As you can see, that is pretty, yeah, there we go. It's like icing, man. I love it. I typically like to make it a little bit thicker than this, though, because for whatever reason, when the whey connects with the hot cream of rice, sometimes, for whatever reason, that will make the consistency of the whey go from this right now, which you're seeing is perfect. It'll almost thin it out a bit somehow. I'm not sure how that all works, but it's just what I've seen a couple times now. So typically I err on going too thick rather than not thick enough, just because then you have a little bit of room for error. Plus, you can always add more water. You can't really take away water. All right. I'm making sure I get every last drop of this stuff, guys. Firstly, just because I'm crazy like that. And secondly, because the stuff tastes so good. All right. And then, like any good chef does, you lick the spoon. Yep. And actually keep this so that I can just scrape up every last drop. All right. Next up, the fruit. Honestly, guys, I could really just eat a bowl of fruit by itself. I'm going to be honest with you. So we got strawberries, 150 grams of them. Ooh, that's 100 on the dot. $141, $148. Let's see, can we get a perfect 150? 150.4. I will take it. All right. Now for the blueberries. So 150 grams of strawberries, 70 grams of blueberries. The only bad part about blueberries is you got to wash your freaking hands like crazy after because of how much they stain, especially the frozen ones. But frozen fruit is the best fruit for sure. I know that's a bit of like a popular thing to say right now in the industry. I think Nick Walker made that popular, but man, I've been preferring frozen fruit for 10 years now. Before 169.7. Yeah, you know what? We're in an off season. Let's err on the side of more. 170.6. All right. So, worst part about the blueberries right there. So now we're going to weigh out our salt. I get 1.5 grams. 1.5 grams. All right, I'm going to show you guys a more zoomed in picture of everything, show you a bit of the consistency for it. And yeah, also, I will take my meal one pills with this. What is in this is basically liver health, kidney health, heart health, multivitamin, D3, K2, just your basic stuff. There's nothing fancy in here. And then my fish oils are actually at night. So yeah, but I'll show you guys a close-up look of what this looks like. I'm gonna be honest, guys. I didn't even think about this camera angle when I was putting all this stuff in a bowl. You could have actually seen me doing it. Still new to this vlog thing. Bear with me. But that is for the rest of the meals. I may do this right here because I think this is a bit of a better angle. But regardless, all right. Where's my spoon at? Oh, just gonna show you guys a bit of the consistency and the texture here. So it's like a thicker pudding, basically. A thicker rice pudding with essentially icing on top. So absolutely delicious, by the way. I have no desire to cheat on my diet, guys, because I get to eat stuff like this every single day. Like how could I cheat on my diet? Like this this is like a cinnamon, strawberry, blueberry cake. Honestly, that's what it tastes like. It's amazing. And my post-workout meal is pretty much the same, maybe like a little better. It it's basically the same thing, but instead of strawberries and blueberries, I get banana, pineapple, honey. So yeah. But in here, by the way, I just got some black coffee. Big black coffee enjoyer. I don't like none of the fancy drinks. I think that's just an adult milkshake. But yeah, I'm actually pretty damn hungry, so I'm gonna smash this meal, and I will see you guys in the truck on the way to the gym. On our way to the gym now. Like I said earlier, we got arms and delts on the menu. This day is not like the rest of my days. I have timed rest on this. No more than, I think it's 90 seconds. I re-look at it every workout, but I'm fairly sure it's 90 seconds, which is pretty good. It's just enough time for you to be able to go at it hard again, but you'll still have a good amount of blood flow there. Basically, the point is we want just a stupid pump. You know, we can get more into the nitty gritty of that, like metabolic stress and sarcoplasmic hypertrophy and blah, blah, blah. All you need to know is limiting your rest between sets is going to result in a better pump because the muscle has less time to recover between sets. A little bit of that blood is still trapped over. There you go. So we start off with arms, then we finish with 2 delt exercises, one side, one rear. First off, it's curls, and then a tricep extension. Then it basically flip-flops back and forth, biceps, triceps, biceps, triceps. 9 sets for each of those, 9 sets for bis, 9 sets for tris. Then I believe it's 4 sets for sides and 2 sets for rear delts. So pretty good workout, pretty quick workout as well. You know, with that limited rest time, it's impossible to be in the gym for that long. But yeah, it's been a good week so far. It's Thursday, so the week is pretty much over as far as I'm concerned. I have no more workouts until Saturday after this. Saturday will be legs. And then Saturday is kind of the end of my week, kind of the start of my week. So after today, it kind of feels like the week is over. We have check-ins on Saturday. But yeah, weight is like very slightly up, but the past couple of days, it's either dropped or held stable. I think my weight has stuck at a fasted 224.6 or something like that for 3 days in a row. So I'm assuming probably going to get a food bump. Not sure though. I'd like a food bump. You know, looking at the macros that I laid out for you guys today, I think I'm eating like 5,500 calories, something like that. That's not a lot of food to me. I have a very, very high appetite. I can very easily put down 8,000 calories, no problem. I'll have no distension doing that. I'll have no digestive issues doing that. But right now, it's just not required. Um, I'm sure we'll probably work up to a pretty high number by the end of this off season, though. But as for now, food is still pretty moderate, in my opinion. I'm decently satisfied between meals, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm eating 7 meals a day on training days right now. I could very easily do 8 or 9. Um, so appetite is really, really high right now, which is a good thing. You don't want your appetite to be low in an off season. That's a curse. That is a curse. But I'm just hoping that we can build up the food a bit higher by the end of the off season. Still got tons of time, by the way. Still got like 14 weeks or something like that. But I hope we can build that up so that by the end, my food is at 7 or 8,000 calories. Because then the logic there is, okay, if you're eating 7 or 8,000 calories a day in off season, you're only going to need to drop, let's say, 500 to 1,000 once you go into prep. So you're prepping on like 7,000 calories. Now, obviously, that's not going to last forever. You're going to go down on food at some point. But in my experience in the past, the higher my food starts at the beginning of prep, the higher it will end at the end of prep as well. So, yeah, we're getting close to the gym here. So I'm going to go ahead and end this section of the video, and then you guys will see the workout. I'm most likely going to overdub some audio on this one this time. I felt like I should have done that on the last vlog, but having to do all the voiceovers from the actual, show we were at too, it was just a bit much, and I wanted to get the video out as soon as I could. So instead of doing that little bit of extra work, I kind of took a shortcut there, which I'm not going to do anymore. I'm thinking for now, I'm going to keep it to one of these a week. I think that will be good. You guys don't need to see every single day. I'll record my workouts every single day. You guys can see those on Instagram, but you don't need to see every single day of my life because, to be honest with you guys, it's basically the same shit every day for the most part. I wake up at just about the same time, go to bed at just about the same time, eat my food at just about the same time. I train at just about the same time. Groundhog Day. That's bodybuilding. So I will see you guys in the gym.
All right, here we are hitting arms and delts, starting off with 3 sets of cable curls at 12 to 15 reps. So I really like this movement. As you see, I'm bracing into the cable stand here. I find that honestly just gives me such a better stability within the exercise. Being able to brace on something like this just makes a huge difference for me personally, especially as someone who's always had low back issues due to the additional spinal disc I have, or whatever it is. My chiropractor could explain it way better than I do, but it's besides the point. Basically, my lower back is constantly just fucking barking at me. So being able to stand and post up on something like this really helps. And, in the past, like, if I had a workout, maybe 3/4 of it was almost entirely dumbbells and barbells. But, the past 6 months or so, I've been experimenting with switching to mostly cables and machines. I think I have like one dumbbell movement on my push day, and I think that, or no, I have one dumbbell movement on push day, one dumbbell movement on pull day, and I think that's it. I think those are the only barbell or dumbbell movements. There are no barbell movements at all, and only one Smith machine movement. So making that change has been really big for me. I was a big believer in barbells and dumbbells, but it just wasn't giving me the growth that I wanted, and my joints were starting to get a little banged up, unfortunately. So then we now have single arm tricep extensions, same rep range for the majority of these exercises today. A lot of the things I said about the bicep curls can apply to this here as well. But another thing that I didn't mention with the bicep curls is I really, really like doing single arm variations right now. Being able to do one side at a time and just really focus on each rep on each side has been awesome for me. I really enjoy it. I have always, so on triceps, I've always had kind of an easy time. And I'm sure, as you can tell just watching this video, my triceps are a bit more dominant than my biceps. So I'm hoping that stuff like this is going to allow my biceps to catch up to my triceps. I do still think that genetically I'm just a bit better off in the tricep department than bicep department, which is fine. That's honestly the look I prefer. Like, I prefer a Kevin Levrone look over an Arnold look, personally. So, pretty close to failure here. I think I actually upped the weight after this, or this may have been the set where I did up the weight. I'm not sure. But as you can see, I'm fighting for these last almost partial reps. But as long as the majority of my reps are clean, that's what I'm looking for. So, and overall, I would say if I had to pick between this single arm variation, which you guys see me do on my arm and shoulder day, or if I had to pick between the dual arm variation that I do on my push day, I would definitely go for the single arm. I've considered just doing it twice, doing this on my push day and then doing it again here on arm day. I've considered that, but I don't know. I just feel kind of weird doing that. Now, I do something like that similarly. The next exercise after this you're going to say is preacher curls. I do this movement twice a week just because I connect that well with it. So, thinking out loud here, I might actually look to do that. I might look to just do single arm work on my push day. But, that's neither here nor there. That's just a thought that I'm kind of thinking out loud here now. But, yeah. Pretty close to failure. Yeah, my elbow is not moving. And a lot of the times with my triceps, it goes from 0 to 100. I'll be moving and then boom, there's nothing left. So, preacher curls, machine single arm preacher curls specifically. Guys, I love this movement. I love it so much that I do it twice a week, like I mentioned. I do it. It's my only bicep movement on my pull day, and then it's my second bicep movement here on arm day. I really like it. Just the stretch, being able to just focus on the squeeze the whole way down and the whole way up. Again, I really just feel like, especially for biceps, like with triceps, I find I can still get a pretty good workout. You give me nothing but a barbell and some dumbbells, I can get a pretty good tricep workout done. I can do some rolling dumbbell extensions, some skull crushers, stuff like that. It's not going to be as good for my joints, but I do think it'll still grow my triceps. But I'm going to be honest, with biceps, me personally, I just don't think I respond very well to dumbbells. And I just this past, previous mesocycle, whatever you want to call it, before now, I gave dumbbell curls and dumbbell hammer curls a good 2-3 month shot, maybe longer. And I just don't connect to them. It's futile. It's stupid for me to try to force an exercise that just doesn't work for me. I made that mistake with barbell squats for years. So I'm going to kind of cut to the chase and just go ahead and take out that time. Like, I know that I need to switch to a machine or cable movement for biceps. I feel it better. It works better. End of discussion. And you got to be confident in those decisions too, because in the past I have been a program hopper. I've changed an exercise every other week. We can't do that. That's not the best idea. You can't do that on every workout, at least. Maybe if you do that on one workout a week, whatever. But I was doing it for every workout. Now we have the overhead tricep extensions. I love these. I really like them with a dumbbell too, but the joint wear and tear is just not great. It also gets to a certain point. I am someone who has decently strong triceps, especially if we're just going like clang and bang form. We're going just ripping weight. I've tricep extended 150-pound dumbbell before. Not both hands, obviously. One dumbbell in both my hands. I've done that. I think I've done single arm dumbbell extensions with like 85 or 95s, maybe 100s. It's been a long time since I've done single arm overheads with dumbbells, because those really will hurt my joints. But these feel great. And then this next exercise that we're going to see here shortly is the rope hammer curls. I just feel these so much better. This has always been a core exercise for me, and I had removed it recently just with the program switch and everything. But this exercise right here has always been one of the only things that I can actually feel my brachialis work in. Hammer curls, I feel so much shoulder involvement. I feel so much forearm involvement. But with this right here, you're obviously still getting some forearm involvement, but the feeling in the brachialis specifically, and the biceps, but mainly the brachialis, is just night and day better than doing it with dumbbells to me. Then we have machine dips. Unfortunately, this is not the best machine. The loading profile is fine. Everything about the machine is fine, except probably the most important thing.
You see where my knees are. You see how there's no pad for me to support myself, and I'm kind of almost having to anchor myself underneath the machine. Yeah, it doesn't feel great while you're doing it. I still get a really good pump, and I'm not maxing the machine out yet. I'm close, but I'm not quite there. So maybe once this machine gets maxed out for 15 to 30, then I'll look to switch it out. But I love this angle. I just wish we had a better machine. So cable laterals, I love these. Setting them at the midpoint here at about your hips or your waist basically just allows you to, for the most part, get a strictly side delt connection. With dumbbells, I've always felt dumbbells in my side delts very well, but I've also always gotten a good deal of trap involvement as well, even with dumbbells as light as 15 pounds. And when you look at how a side lateral raise is executed with a dumbbell, it is an outward motion, but it is also an upward motion. And when you go upwards and outwards, that's going to involve both the side delts and the traps. Whereas, as you can see, look at the cable right now. See how that's basically just moving straight out? It's starting to go slightly up now that I'm getting fatigued. But for the most part, it's a straight line. As straight as a line as a movement within the frontal plane can be, at least. But the pump on these is stupid, way better. And side delts is another muscle group where I have gotten away from doing dumbbells. Shoulders in general, I've gotten away from doing dumbbells. There is no shoulder pressing in my program right now. And again, I'm not doing my own programming, so I guess it's just something I don't need. I've always done them, but to be honest with you, I've never really gotten much out of them, so I don't miss them. But I've done heavy, light, moderate dumbbell laterals for years, and I would say my shoulders are one of my better body parts. So it didn't not work, but I will say ever since switching to this, my shoulders are rounder, bigger, fuller, and even denser and harder, which is strange because typically we kind of associate that hard, dry, grainy look with dumbbells and barbells. But I'm going to be honest, guys, I just don't think that's true. I think that hardness, dryness, grain, the density, I just think that comes from effort. I don't think it matters if you're using a dumbbell, a barbell, a machine, a cable. Your muscle doesn't know what it's lifting. It just knows that it's being put through a range of motion under a time with intention. Like, it just matters that you're going hard. If you go hard, if you go insane, you're going to look grainy. You're going to look dense. And I'm not saying I'm the grainiest or the densest person in the world. I'm just saying we have plenty of examples of guys who are doing that. We have plenty of examples of guys who are using mostly machines that are dry, hard, round, full. They just train hard. I believe seeing that in myself now, slowly but surely, has just kind of opened my eyes a bit. You don't have to do anything in bodybuilding. There are no rules, and that's one of the beautiful things about it. There are absolutely no rules in bodybuilding. All right, and finished up with some posing. Tried out a different camera angle today. Just had it a bit high up. I don't know, just to see. I feel like it was a more upper body dominant angle. It kind of shows off what's going on in the upper body. And since we just did arms and shoulders, I feel like it was, fair to do that. You can still see a decent amount of legs, though. I was actually kind of surprised with my conditioning today. I'm up weight, but weight has held for a couple days, so I guess everything's just kind of starting to marinate. You can definitely. I'm just getting fuller, bigger, rounder by the day. I'm not sure where dryness is going yet. I don't think I'm getting much more watery. You can see maybe a little bit of a film of water on the glutes and on my waist, but overall, a lot of it seems to be within the muscle for the most part. And I'm someone who, I've always been a bit heavier, fatter, water retentive, stuff like that. So it's definitely something that I have to keep an eye on. These poses right here, I felt looked pretty good. This one right here, especially the side chest. Like, look at my rear delt and my side delt. It's just full blown. This is what I'm talking about when I say the roundness is just different from training this way for me. And then the side tricep here, I swear this pose is almost impossible to hit at this point in the off season. I can only imagine what it's going to be like when I'm like 20 pounds heavier. But yeah, I didn't spend too much time on that. And now these poses turned out really well. Covered up the glutes a little bit because y'all don't need to see off season glutes, that's for sure. You can see those on my check-in videos. But yeah, this pose looked really good to me. I was really surprised with how these turned out. I don't know. it was a slightly different angle than what I'm used to. I feel like it showed me parts of my physique that I wasn't aware I had, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's the overall workout. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will cut back to me at the house.
Great workout, crazy pump. I was actually even able to get a little bit stronger on that today. I felt like I needed to up the weight a bit, which is good because I'm not trying to do that on this arm and delt day at all. This day is not about progressive overload, but if it's there, I'm going to take it. Yeah, this workout is all about blood swelling, sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Getting nutrients in there. Basically, long story short, getting a stupid pump. That's what that workout is all about. But being able to add a little bit of extra weight is always a good sign too, because a bigger muscle is a stronger muscle. So usually if you're getting stronger, it means you're also getting bigger. So yeah, time to replenish everything we just burnt off. And I will show you guys what this post-workout meal here looks like.
Post-workout meal, this is how I'm going to make this. Very similar to meal one, just some slight differences, but nothing crazy. So, same deal. I'll turn on that scale and put 140 grams of cream of rice. It's 142. 140.5. In off season, I'd rather be a little over than under. All right. Now, the baking powder, once again, I believe I said a tablespoon for this guy, by the way, but I'm pretty sure this is a teaspoon, actually. So, 1 teaspoon of this. 1 heaping teaspoon, that is. Normally ends up being about 5 to 7 grams, something like that. And then we're going to do no psyllium husk powder this time because since this is post-workout, I want this to hit me as quick as possible. So I don't want any fiber or anything like that slowing that down. Just fiber with no fat isn't really going to do that for the most part, but hey, better safe than sorry. So I'm going to add the water to that now. Since there's no psyllium husk in this, we're going to do slightly less water than we did last time. I did 800 last time, so I'm going to do, or actually I did 850, so let's do 650 for the water. I think I will tell you guys the macros for all of this once it's actually done. All right, now we're going to mix this up. Make sure that everything, there's no clumps, everything is mixed as well as you can have it. All right, and that's part one of this. I'm gonna go ahead and put this on the stove and get all that set, and then we will be back with the whey drip. All right, part two is you're gonna make your whey paste, whey drip, whatever you wanna call it. Same exact process as from earlier. Same exact amount of proteins. We're gonna do 98 grams of weight, which is pretty much 70 grams of protein exactly. .3, perfect. All right. Now we're gonna do water. So last time I accidentally did a bit too much water. I think it was like 75 or 78 to 98. So this time I want to try to get it a bit thicker. So let's go for like 58 liquid. I think that's what my intention was the first time. $59, close enough. All right, now we're just gonna mix that all together. It's going to probably be too thick, and I'm most likely going to have to run some water over it, but that is perfectly fine. And something that I forgot to mention, actually no, this is perfect. Something that I forgot to mention on meal one is I normally let this whey paste right here sit in the freezer before I apply it. I learned that from Josh Jefferson, the Moses of Muscle. Shout out to you, dude. It basically just gives it a bit of a better texture. I don't know what it is. Something about putting this in the freezer. And also, ideally, what I like to do as well is I like to put the cream of rice itself with the whey paste on top of it, all of it in the freezer, and let that sit for like 20 minutes. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm too dang hungry for that. And with my post-workout meal, I'll never do that because I want this post-workout meal to hit me as quick as possible after training. So put this in the freezer now. But with my meal one, if I have a little bit of extra time in the morning, sometimes I will do that. Did not do it today because today's meal prep day. I want to make sure I am very efficient with my time, especially since we're tracking all this with the vlog. But so that's part 1 and 2. Part 3 is going to be putting this fruit on top and the honey as well with the salt. So you guys will see the semi-finished product and then the finished product, but we'll jump to that.
Our scale, we got the finished cream of rice right here. As you can see, much thicker because we used a good deal less water. All right, so first thing we're going to do, the whey drip, or whey paste in this case. I was able to get the whey paste much thicker, as you can see. That is much more like a thick cake icing, which is kind of how I prefer it. So it's a little bit of a pain to get out of the bowl, though. All right, so what we're going to do is, that's most of it right there. You can see this is thick. I don't know why I turned the scale on. Don't need that on yet. All right, so I'm going to try to drop it just right in the middle. Yep, there we go. Now I'm going to take this other thing. I don't even know what you call these, by the way. I guess it's kind of like a rubber spatula. I love these things, though. I use them for rice, use them for this, use them for a lot. So I'm going to try to get most of that off there. I'm just going to kind of, like a paintbrush, try to spread it all out. And as it heats up, for whatever reason, that will cause it to get a little bit softer, lose a little bit of the resistance here you're seeing on it. All right, I think that's good. All right, I'll probably just eat the rest of that as it is, honestly. Okay, so now we turn the scale on. And I'm going to do the bananas first. So 70 grams of these. Oop, dropped one on the floor. To be honest, guys, 5-second rule. We don't waste food in this house. Okay. Now we're going to add 100 grams of pineapple. Once again, guys, frozen fruit is the GOAT. Don't waste your money on fresh fruit. Frozen fruit, in a lot of cases, I know for blueberries, there may be some where this is not the case, but I know for stuff like blueberries, they are actually healthier for you frozen. All right. So now that we've got those, now it is time for the honey. So I get 25 grams of this post-workout. We're going to just kind of do a thin layer over the whole thing. Then once we get to about halfway, just going to do a thinner layer across the whole thing. One more. All right, and that's 25.2. So pretty on the money with that. And then 1.5 grams of salt. There we go, 1.5. All right, so that is the finished product right there. Look at that. That is super thick. That is exactly how I like it. That's what she said. But that is the texture I prefer. So honestly, guys, I mean, I don't know about you, but to me, that looks pretty damn good. You really don't have to waste all this money on these flavored cream of rices. I mean, in prep, when you're eating a low amount of food, I can get it. But in an off season, guys, food is too expensive for us to waste money on frivolous things like this. Just learn how to prepare your food, make it taste a bit better. But so the macros for this meal, roughly, of course, 1,100 calories, so slightly more than the pre-workout meal. 165 grams of carbs, and about 75 grams of protein again, and about 5 grams of fat again. So pretty close to the pre-workout meal, just a little bit more. So yeah, love this meal. It's a hard vote between meal 1 or 2, which one I prefer there, but I like them both equally. You can't have a favorite child, right? So all right. And I think that the next time you guys will see me will probably be when I'm starting meal prep, which is going to be in about 30 minutes or so. I'm going to probably eat this, take a shower, chill out for a bit, and then start my meal prep. I'll see you then. Now it is time to meal prep. So I don't know if I'm going to split this up into a bunch of parts or just try to do it all right now, but we'll do it live. So first step, got to weigh out your rice. So I'm cooking a pretty large batch here. I'm thinking about 1,000. Yeah, we'll do 1,000 grams. So a gram. Or a kilogram, rather. Dumb American for you, eh? All right. So, and the reason that I'm putting it in this bowl right here is because I've already put some no-stick spray into my rice cooker, and I don't want the rice to stick to it. There we go. That's right at 1,000. Now I'm going to use this strainer to wash my rice because I'm not a filthy animal. I do wash my rice sometimes. So, all we're going to do with this, see if I need to adjust the camera. Nope, we're all good. All right. So all we got to do with this is make room in the sink here for the strainer. And then I'm going to dump as much rice, switch up my hands to my dominant hand. I'm going to dump as much rice as I can fit into this strainer. Actually, I might be able to get all of it. No, not quite. It's a little, there we go. Okay. All right, now I'm going to rinse it with hot water. We're just going to let that drain. I'm usually a bit more thorough with this as well, but I'm going to be honest, since you guys are watching, I'm just going to try to speed this up a bit. Normally I'll let it sit here and drain for maybe 3-4 minutes, but ain't nobody got time for that right now. All right, there we go. And then I'm going to put the rice pot up here, and then dump it in. And because I already weighed it dry, I'm going to know the amount of water that is hanging on to the rice kernels here after being washed. So we had 1,000 grams exactly. So if it's like 1,100, then that means I need to add that much less water. 1,100 almost exactly. It's like 10,991, something like that. So, all right. Now we add the water, which was the only thing I did not bring over here before recording. All right. So basically 1,100. So that means I've got actually like 100 grams of fluid in here. Now, so it's 1,000 grams of rice, right? So how I like my rice, how I always cook it is, if I did 1,000 grams of rice, I'm going to do 2,000 grams of liquid. That makes the rice nice and fluffy. And to all you psychopaths who weigh your food raw, if you cook your rice the same way every time, you don't have to worry about accuracy, guys. Because I always do that ratio. Regardless of how much rice I'm cooking or eating, that ratio is always the same. So therefore my accuracy is close enough. All right. Now, as of late, honestly just haven't really been seasoning my rice with anything. Deeper in the off season, when I'm eating so many calories that it's actually like a big struggle to gain weight, what I will probably do is, instead of using water for this, I'll either use half or all of the liquid for my rice here will be chicken broth or beef broth, preferably the no or low sodium kind. But yeah, I mean, this is really all I got to do to the rice right here. Throw it in the rice cooker, and it will cook itself. 30 minutes, ready to go. So I'm going to end this part here, and then we'll show you the next part in meal prep. All right, so we got the chicken breast here. This is boneless, skinless chicken breast fillets. If I can find them on sale, I do normally prefer the tenderloins, but we just got to kind of do things the hard way now, since we do have the chicken breast and not the chicken tenderloins. So the difference between chicken breast and chicken breast tenderloins is the tenderloins are essentially fat-free. So what we're going to have to do here on these chicken breasts is cut off all the fat. And this is a bit of a time-consuming process, but it is worth it. I personally don't have the finances to spend $10 a pound on chicken. I don't really know many people who do have that type of income. But regardless, I get my chicken anywhere from $1.99 a pound to like $2.99 at the absolute most. So what I'm getting at is high quality meat, like organic, grass-fed, stuff like that. The fat in that actually has some, those fats are healthy. Those omegas that are in it are actually good for you. However, in cheaper meat like this, there's nothing wrong with the protein itself per se, but any issues with the meat are going to be stored in the fat. So even if you're not necessarily worried about the fat content from a macronutrient standpoint, from a micronutrient standpoint, there could be some stuff in this fat that just isn't great for you overall. So we're going to cut it off. And I will do like a little time lapse of that. Hopefully I can figure out how to do that, but we're going to learn in the process. So you're going to see me in a time lapse cut up this chicken breast. I'll update real quick. Put the green beans on the pan here. As you can see, these are just frozen green beans, seasoned the exact same way that I seasoned the chicken. All right, guys. I was going to do this part off camera, but I was like, let's just record it. So I do, with my meal prep, I do things kind of in a disjointed manner, especially today since I'm eating the food as it's being cooked. What I will typically do is I'll just kind of throw some things in Tupperwares throughout the day, and it's not necessarily in order, right? So I decided I'm just going to go ahead and put green beans and beef and turkey in the containers because I already have enough beef left over from my last meal prep day that was in the freezer. And I think with my turkey as well. I'm going to go ahead and do this so that I can see if that is enough. It's for sure enough beef, but if that is for sure enough turkey or not. So that way I know if I need to cook more or not. But pretty much everything is already cooked for the most part. I'm just going to wait to actually package it all up into its individual Tupperware containers as I'm done with it. So like, for example, in I think like an hour or so, I've got meal 4 coming up, which chicken, rice, green beans. So that's all just going to stay right here for now. And then after I eat that, I'm going to take the chicken, the rice, the green beans, put it in Tupperwares. And after that, I guess meal prep will be done for the day. It's as simple as I'm just weighing out these green beans, weighing out the beef. So we got 100 grams of green beans. And we're going to need 200 grams of beef. And then I'm going to put the rice in after the fact. Nope. 200 on the dot. And that's just going to wash, rinse, repeat for all the meals that I got to do that for. The green beans, chicken, and rice are all about to be done. So now I'm going to eat my third meal of the day here and weigh all that out for you so you can see it in real time. Let's see. All right. So we get 100 grams of vegetables. $99. That is close enough. I actually think I may need to cook more vegetables in this. All right. Now the rice. Man, I'm unprepared as hell. I should have already got all this stuff. All right. So this is going to be 275 grams. Oh, got it on my Keurig here. All right, so that's 190. All right, that's 127. 125 or 174.7. So just a little dab more. 175 on the dot. Actually, 174.9. Fuck it, close enough. All right, now the chicken. As you can see, I've been taking this tenderizer and periodically kind of smashing up the chicken. It creates this kind of barbecue texture. I'll do that one more time. Now we get 200 grams of chicken. $200 on the dot. All right, now we put all this back. This will all be ready for us for meal 4, which is going to be the exact same. I'll most likely just show you guys again anyways, but I may not. It's kind of tedious because it is literally the same exact meal. Now we add our salt. $1.6. All right. I'll probably put some mustard, spicy brown mustard on that. But there you have it, chicken, rice, and green beans. All right, guys, this is meal 4, all ready and ready to go. Didn't feel like you guys needed to see me remake that meal since the last meal was basically the same. But now we're going to go into actually putting stuff in the containers once I get done with this, the prep part of meal prep. This is definitely the most time consuming, or at the very least, the most annoying part of meal prepping. So now we've got all the food cooked. All the work is done, except we got to fill up these Tupperware containers. So, or whatever, Pyrex glasses, whatever brand it is. But so I'm not going to bore you all to death having y'all watch me do 275 grams of rice and 200 grams of meat and 100 grams of vegetables for these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 12 containers. I'm not going to do that to you. So I'm just going to show you how I do it once. It's very simple, but just in case any of you guys are new to meal prepping, I do want to show you how it's done exactly. So that's 180. That's 270. We need 275. 272. 275 on the dot. Okay. Now for the vegetables, I'm actually going to have to cook more vegetables later because unfortunately I forgot to buy green beans this week. So that's something I'll have to do behind the scenes. But I know I always talk about being prepared and everything, and then I don't have green beans, right? But I will say, vegetables are great. Vegetables are great for you. I highly encourage you all to eat at least a decent amount of vegetables. But if I'm being honest here, for bodybuilding terms, they're definitely the least important thing in any of these meal prep containers that I'm prepping right now. So if you do have to forget something, which is kind of bullshit, you don't ever have to forget anything, right? And I normally don't, but if I had to just eat these with just meat and rice and not have any vegetables in the meals, I would enjoy the meals a good deal less, but I don't really think it would be all that negative for my progress. Because, if we're being honest here, like the actual micronutrient profile of a green bean probably isn't that great. All right, so, and then I salt all of my meals as I'm eating them, so don't got to do that now. But we got meat, rice, vegetable, all in a Pyrex container. So I'm going to put all the rest of these together, and I will see you guys when I eat my next meal. All right, guys, this is meal 5. Same exact as meals 3 and 4, just ground turkey instead of chicken breast. Use the same sauces, just plain old mustard, spicy brown mustard. You can spend all this money on, these companies that have these sugar-free sauces and sugar-free fancy dessert flavored cream of rice, stuff like that. You can do all that, or you can just learn how to cook your food in a way to where it tastes good without having to waste that money. If you have the money to burn on stuff like that, that's awesome. But I mean, I feel like most people in this economy don't, and even if they do, probably better off just saving here and there, because why not save a little extra money, right? Well, I'm gonna smash this meal, and I will see you guys at the next one. Guys, last meat and rice meal for the day. This is meal 6, beef, rice, and green beans. So this is the one meal of the day that I actually allow myself a little bit of a special sauce. It's just sugar-free ketchup, G-Hughes. It's still fairly cheap, and since I only use it once a day, it's not an expense I worry about. This stuff like this gets cut out immediately once prep starts. When prep starts, this goes to mustard for everything. Yeah, I just use that pretty lightly. No supplements or anything I take with this meal. That's all going to be with the next meal, the last meal of the day, which is a Ninja Creamy. That one I'm really excited to show you guys, because I tell people all the time about the Ninja Creamy that I make, but it's hard to explain. People don't think it actually looks and tastes like real ice cream until they've seen it or tried it. So, all right, guys, last meal of the day. Also, one of my favorite meals of the day. I'd say meal one is definitely my favorite. This is, if it's a rest day, this is a second. But yeah, I love my cream and rice meals. But anyways, so this right here is the finished product. With the Ninja Creamy, you gotta make it in this container at least 12 hours before. I do 24 hours. So that's the finished product. Solid as a rock. I'll show you how we blend that up as well. But to get to there, this is how you do it. All right. So there's an empty shaker cup with a shaker ball in it. We're going to weigh out 500 grams of liquid. That's basically what I found is the absolute most that I can put in there without it causing problems. And then we're going to tear that out and put 70 grams of protein in here, which is going to be 98 grams on the scale. That is 99, 98. Tear that out. And then this is what makes the difference with a limited ingredient creamy, by the way, guys. Now, there's all sorts of different things that you can do to make the creamy thicker or to give it a different taste or texture, but they all have a shit ton of calories. So all we're going to do here is, like we did with meal one, we're going to put 10 grams of Metamucil. I like to do the Metamucil I like to do the vanilla one for breakfast, and then I'll do straight up regular Metamucil before bed, just because it's what I've used for years, and I know it helps keep me regular. I know it works. So you do get that benefit of the fiber from the Metamucil, and it also creates a thicker, more ice cream-like texture in the Ninja Creamy, and it also makes it to where it doesn't melt quite as quickly. So we're going to weigh out 10 grams of that. There we go. And that's it. All we got to do from here is put the shaker top on, shake it up. I've tried a whisk and I've tried like those electronic spinners, whatever. They don't work. Good old fashioned shaker cup. This shaker cup's annoying. And then you're going to see it should all just be a pretty clear liquid. It's just a protein shake right now. Yep. You could drink that, but what's the fun in that? All right, so now this bad boy is going to go into the fridge for tomorrow. Or the freezer, sorry, not the fridge. All right, so that's in the freezer. Now we're going to put this in the blender mechanism. That locks into place. This goes on top, and then this, I don't know if you can quite see that, goes into this machine right here. Turn and twist. Oh, my dumbass didn't turn it on first. So turn it on first, then turn and twist, and you press the ice cream button. And this is going to make a shit ton of noise, so I will see you guys with the finished product. All right, with the machine being done, this is now ready to be served up. A lot of people like to eat theirs just out of this container itself. I don't like that. What I like to do is the bowl you see me eat out of throughout the day. Of course, I only do that when I'm at home. Otherwise, I'm eating out of Tupperware containers. But a bowl like that, what I'll do is I'll actually put a little bit of water at the bottom and put it in the freezer for a couple hours, and it creates this nice little ice on the bottom. And I find that helps also to stop the Ninja Creamy from melting so quickly, because I don't like the rush. I want to enjoy my food. So this stops it from melting so quickly. But let's see. Yeah, it's pretty good. All right. So first thing, you always got to lick the lid. But I like my tongue, so I'm going to scoop out like that. Mm. That is great, guys. It's a weird combination, but the Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Meadows Way, plus orange with the Metamucil, I don't know, something about it. It makes it taste more like an orange sherbet. I don't know, maybe they put cinnamon in orange sherbet. I'm not sure. But yeah. So what I like to do is I'll just scoop the ice cream out of here. There's a big old spoon. And I'll use this wooden spatula to kind of clean it off there. And I also want to smooth it into the bowl so it's like soft serve. And then I find with having to put the creamy in the freezer for at least 24 hours tends to make the outer layer of here kind of freeze, right? So what I'll do then is, this is kind of almost like a shaved ice, more so than ice cream. It's not bad. It's not as good as the rest of it, but you know, it is what it is. I'm sure there's a way to get around that, but I haven't found it yet. Make sure we get all of that. All right. And we'll pattern down that kind of more icier layer on the edge. All right. And that's what it looks like there before we put any toppings on it. And then with this meal, it's 70 grams of protein powder and then 30 grams of nut butter. I use the Teddy's from Walmart is where I get it. I'm sure you can probably get it in multiple stores though. But it is, the only ingredients are salt and peanuts. Look at that, 30.1. 30.1. That is as close to perfect as we're getting. We got to add that 1.5 grams of salt. I like to put that just on the icy part because that's the first part I'm going to eat. That way the ice doesn't melt, or not the ice, the salt doesn't melt the rest of the ice cream. But I kind of like to save the nut butter for last, so I put it on the outer edge here of the bowl, and then that's the last part I eat. But yeah, guys, this is the Ninja Creamy. Macros will be on the screen, and yeah, after I eat this, I'll have some words to say to you guys, and then that'll be it. All right, guys, it is now getting close to my bedtime. Had that last meal about 30-40 minutes ago. Gonna be looking to go to bed here shortly. After I do my nightly waist control routine, take my sleep supplements, everything like that. But yeah, this has been a full day of eating and some behind the scenes in how I do my meal prep. Already had some stuff cooked, like the green beans, the turkey, the ground beef, but I think everybody knows how to cook ground meat. It's not rocket science. So you saw how I cut the fat off my chicken. I prepare my chicken, I prepare my rice. The rice is probably the most important part of all of this. The Ninja Creamy, the cream of rice meals. I think you saw everything that was important today. And then, the workout as well. But yeah, I just want to thank you guys all for watching. If you made it to the end of the video, please drop a comment below and let me know that you did. Whatever time of day you guys are watching this, I hope you have a good one.